Hey, welcome back. This is episode 27, and we're starting today with $7,480 in the bankroll. Now, I was actually looking at the roll a little bit earlier, and if we hadn't played 2-5, the roll would be sitting at just over 10,000, around $10,200, with a profit of over $9,000 just at live 1-3. We're getting pretty close to the $10,000 mark. Pretty excited for it. Let's get straight into some hands.
All right, we are kicking this session off with a button straddle, 3 callers, and we have ace jack off in mid position. I'm going to bump this up to $36, and only the big blind and one of the limpers calls. So we are 3 ways to a flop. It's pretty sweet. Jack 8 deuce rainbow. Checks to me, going to start with a small bet, just 40 bucks. Big blind gets out the way, and one of the limpers does make the call. Off to a turn, which is the 10 of diamonds. Not too great, and now she leads for 75, and I make the mistake of calling here. This should just be a fold against this player. Literally the hand right before this, very similar situation. There's a jack high flop. I had an overpair, and the turn was a 10, and then she led into me, and I just folded my kings, and then it turned out that she had turned the 2 pair with like 10-9 or something. So doing this again the very next hand, this is just, we're beat here. But I make the call off to a river, which is the king of clubs. And she doesn't slow down here and bets 125. We should have folded on the turn, but we're going to fold this now. She said she had a straight draw and hit on the turn. I believe her. But off to a rough start this session. We are getting some cards. We had kings, ace jack, and pocket sevens, 3 hands in a row. Literally the 3 shuffles in a row. Same player as last hand limps. We're going to raise this up to 15. Player on my left calls. And we're going to go 3 ways to a flop with the original limper and the player to my left. Comes out pretty good. Jack, jack 4, 2 clubs. Checks to me. Small bet here. Middle position calls and the other limper folds. So heads up to a turn, which is the 8 of hearts. Could bet, could check. I think both make sense. I'm going to go with a check here. And middle position bets out $40. I'm not believing this just yet, so I toss in the call. Off to a river, which is the 6 of spades. I check it over, and he bets 100. And against most players, this would just be a fold, but this guy is... He clicks a lot of buttons, right? He could definitely have some ace highs here. He could have a 4 here, just... Yeah, we're going to have to pay him off if he has it. So we toss in the call, and he shows the queen jack. We're going to lose 3 hands in a row. Going to top off and keep battling. All right, just a few hands later, we have pocket queens in the small blind and facing a low jack open to 12, and hijack has called. So I'm going to bump this up to $50. Big blind folds, and the original limper calls, as well as the original razor. So 3 ways to a flop of ace 6-3 rainbow. Gonna start off with a check here. It's multi-way. I don't want to range bet. And under the gun puts out a small bet of 45. This guy is definitely a recreational player. He has been running very hot, just playing almost any 2. So low jack folds, and we're gonna make the call. Off to a turn, which is the 6 of clubs. Doesn't change too much. I check it over, and now he bets 75. 3-handed, he limp called $50. I think we're just gonna have to let this one go. Kind of sucks. So we make the fold and get shown 7-8 off. Savage. All right, not too many hands later. We've got a button straddle on and 4 callers. We have ace 10 off in the cutoff. And this table's been playing pretty tight pre-flop. I've been raising a lot and taking it down a lot pre-flop, so I'm going to keep going ahead with that. I bump it up to $42, and only one of the limpers calls, and he's a short stack. So heads up to a flop of ace queen 4 rainbow. Pretty nice. He checks it over, and with less than a pot size bet behind, I'm just going to give him a chance to bluff at it. So I check back. Turn is the 10 of diamonds. Bit overkill. And he does announce all in. Nothing to do here but call. Off to a river, which is the 3 of hearts. We show, and unfortunately, he turned the 3-outer. Oh boy, we are now in for $1,000 and it's been about 20, maybe 30 minutes. In this next hand, hoping to turn it around. We have 9-8 off on the big blind with the under the gun straddle on. Given that it's six-handed now, it's $3 to win 36. I'm going to toss in the 3. Under the gun's not very aggressive, and he does check back. So, off to a really nice flop of 7-6 deuce rainbow. Checks to me, I'm going to start betting here. Make it $12, and we only get one fold. So, 5-handed to the turn, not really sure what I'm going to do here. Probably keep bluffing, but we don't have to, as the 10 of hearts rolls off. Getting some run good, finally. Checks to me, I'm going to size up here to 70, and only the button calls. So, heads up to a river, which is the 3 of diamonds. Very nice run out. I thought more than one person was going to call on the turn. Otherwise, I would have sized up to about 100. But we can't really go for all of it. I mean, we could, but I think $200 is going to be fine. So, I go for 200. Button thinks for quite a while, but unfortunately makes the correct fold. So, at least we take down a decent sized pot. In this next hand, we're playing another questionable hand. We are looking down at 3 limps, and we have king 5 of hearts in the hijack. I go ahead and over limp, and so does the button, and the small blind also completes. So we are 7 ways to a flop of 10-6 deuce, 2 hearts. These trash hands are working out for us. One person bets out pot for $20, and only I make the call. So we are heads up to a turn, which is the ace of diamonds. Hoping this is going to slow him down. Fortunately not. He goes ahead and bets $50, nearly pot. It's quite clear this person has a set, and they don't fold sets. So there's a lot of implied odds here. So I make the call, off to a river. Beautiful 8 of hearts. Make the second nuts. He checks it over, and checks it over with some frustration. So I'm going to size up here. I make it 120. I don't want to blow him out of the water. He knows he's beat. Right, we're 7-handed. And he begrudgingly makes the call. So we're definitely good here. I show. Doesn't show, but he's probably got a set. Pretty nice to take down 2 decent pots with some pretty trash hands. In this next hand, we are keeping up with the trend of playing trash hands. This one's a little bit better, but we got an under the gun limp. I'm going to cut off a 4-3 of hearts. I'm going to raise this up to $15. Everyone to my left calls. So we are 5 ways to a really nice flop. 5-3 deuce, 1 heart. Checks to me. I'm going to start off with a small bet, $25. Button calls, small blind calls, and under the gun calls. So still 4 ways to a turn, which is the queen of diamonds. Pretty much a blank. Checks to me again. And since no one raised me on the flop, I'm feeling pretty good about continuing my bluff. So I make it 120 to go, and only the small blind calls this time. So off to a river, looking for some help. It does not come. The jack of clubs. He checks it over to us. And we've come this far. And I think small blind most likely also has a hand very similar to ours. Maybe pocket 4s, maybe 5-4 suited, something like that. I don't think we're good here, but I also don't think that he can call a very large bet. So I announce all in. Doesn't take too long, and luckily we get the fold. Nice. All right, done with the garbage hands. We now have ace king suited. Looking down at 2 limps, I bump it up to $18, and the same player's last hand is on the button. He re-raises to 55. Folds back round to the original limper, who makes the call. And so does the low jack. And now we're in a sticky situation. I'd love to get this hand heads up. I could raise to 150, but if he jams, we have to fold, which sucks. But button is somebody that I could consider 4-betting, as they're not just 3-betting like queens plus. I think for quite a while, and I kind of like the 4-bet with all the dead money out there. We can't really make it 150, right? He's got such a good price to call then. And if we get jammed on, like, that just sucks. We could jam, but we're, $700 effective, right? This is like almost 3 buy-ins. I don't know. I couldn't really decide, so I just went with a call here. Play some post-flop, and we get a pretty good flop of 6-4-4, 2 clubs. Check it over to him, and he starts off with a small 1/3 bet of 75. Middle position calls, low jack folds. Once again, like, tough spot. I can't really raise because anything better calls. And if we fold out worse, like, best case scenario, we fold out ace king for a chop, which doesn't seem great. So I just toss in the call. It's a good price. We can draw to our flush. The turn is the 9 of spades, not the right black card that we wanted. Both check it over, and he checks back. So looks like the button probably has the same hand as us, or maybe an ace queen, and middle position probably has a pocket pair. So doesn't matter though, as we bank the 8 of clubs on the river. Middle position checks. I'm a little bit worried that he does have a full house here. You know, 6s, 9s, 8s, all definitely possible, and 4s. It's not too many hands, but we're gonna have to go for some value here. I don't want to go for a jam. I want, you know, something like pocket 10s to be able to call, or pocket 7s. So I go with 235. Button instantly folds, and so does the middle position. A little bit unfortunate there, but really happy to take down a pot. Okay, this next hand, the same player from the last 2 hands has raised under the gun. Middle position and low jack has called, and I've got 4s in the small blind. So I make the call, and the big blind gets out the way. So 4-handed to a flop of jack 8, 4. Bottom set, the run good is here. Check it over, hoping he's gonna bet. Fortunately, he checks it back, and so does everyone else. Damn it. Turn is the 9 of diamonds. Not a great card, but I'm definitely gonna have to start betting here. I go 25. Original razor folds, and they both call. So off to a river, which is pretty good. The jack of clubs. Unfortunately, since no one bet the flop, I don't think they're gonna have a jack too often. Yeah, I don't know what to size here, but we're just gonna hope that somebody check back a jack on the flop, and I'm gonna size up to 95. Unfortunately, they both snap fold, so not going to get paid this time. In this final hand, we are looking down at 2 limps. Player to our right has raised to 11, and we've got pocket 10s in the cutoff. I bump it up to $35. The same player from the last 3 hands calls in the small blind, and so does the low jack and hijack, the original razor fold. So we are 3-handed to a really nice flop of 8-7-4 rainbow. Checks to me. I start with a small bet of 35. Should be 40, but whatever. Small blind makes a call, and low jack folds. So off to a turn, which is pretty bad. Another 8. He checks it over to me, and I make a mistake here. I should probably keep betting the turn because he overcalled the 3-bet, so there's not that many 8s that he can have, right? There's one combo of 8-7 suited, a few for 8-9 suited, and 2 ace-8 suiteds. That's all he could really have here. Right, he's not gonna have like the 10-8 or the jack-8 suited. So I think this should be a bet here, but I'm also a little bit worried about jacks, maybe queens. So I play some pot control and just check it back. Off to a river, which is the king of spades. Shouldn't change too much unless he has ace king, but I reckon he does 4-bet that at some rate pre-flop. And now he leads for 75. This to me just seems sort of like a block bet. I'm finding it difficult to think what he would do this with, because pocket 8s, pocket 7s are going to want to go bigger. Ace king, I don't think he has too often. This could be like king queen suited. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't really think of any hands to do this with, so I get a bit curious. The price is good, and our hand is still quite strong, so I toss in the call and get the bad news when we get shown the king queen. Not going to win this one.
That's the end of episode 27. Very swingy session, a lot of fun. Brutal start, but managed to claw our way back up. We were in the game for $1,000, and this was in the first 30 minutes. But we managed to climb back up. We were actually in the positive for a little bit, like up $100-something, but we are going to end the session down. I think we cashed out $814 for a loss of $186. Not too bad. That's going to bring the bankroll down from $7,480 down to $7,294. We'll take it. I'll see you all in the next one.